And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We are proud to be here with you in these Great Lakes Honda City Studios Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe here on Wake Up Call. And of course, Binghamton, a proud partner of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, an exclusive multimedia marketing partner. And as we step into year 2 with the Binghamton University Bearcats, I can't believe we're already a year through. We've told a lot of stories. We have the opportunity now to tell the story of Gavin Walsh, who is a 2-time America East Player of the Week for the men's basketball team of the Bearcats, coming off of just being named Player of the Week most recently here in this Bearcat Breakroom. Gavin, how are you?
Doing well, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And I got to give a shout out to the hat. I call them skull caps or beanies or whatever, but I'm always wearing it. And I got to tell you something. I was covering the college football playoff national championship, and my favorite one was black, and then you could flip it and make it gray. I left it on the media bus coming from the game, the media shuttle. So I'm coming out of the national championship, Ohio State, Notre Dame. I leave it on the bus. The bus driver gave it to another media person. Nobody turned it in. So someone's got my skull cap somewhere. so
That doesn't sound good, but they sure are comfy, and I find myself wearing it all day, especially in the cold here. So we need it. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, with the cold happening, the team, on the other hand, is heating up here at this point in the season. You guys came off of a losing streak and were able to break that losing streak and get yourself 2 consecutive wins here for the Binghamton University Bearcats men's basketball team. And so as much as I want to get into what happened most recently, I'd like to do both here. Vermont and Albany. Vermont was at home. Albany was on the road. Those 2 wins snapped a 5-game losing streak. Just bring me into where the team's kind of place mentality, the mentality was coming out of that 5-game losing streak and what you did to shift into these last 2 wins as a group.
No, that's a great question, and it's kind of funny because you would think that a team, especially in nowadays college basketball, with it being almost all business, would be really down and just sort of upset, but we were the complete opposite. We came into practice Monday, ultra confident, having so much fun, and I got to give Coach B credit, Coach Brian Johnson. He came in with just one of the best energies and attitudes that I've ever felt in a practice, and he started playing. He started playing Coldplay on the speaker. And our new team song is "Sky Full of Stars," and we have it playing before the games, every practice, all practice long, and it's just really boosted our morale. And I think that sort of boost of morale and just ultra confidence and just hard week of practice, a great week of practice, really propelled us to be able to win Thursday. And like I said in the interviews that I had after the game versus Vermont, man, I feel like if we played any team in the country that Thursday, we were going to win. And we knew we were winning that game from wake up Thursday morning until even down 10-0 to start the game. We were not worried. We knew we were going to come back and get the job done. So it's a real team effort, and just super proud of everyone. And we're having a blast playing. So we're ready to rock and roll and keep moving forward.
You said it didn't matter who you played on that Thursday. You played the University of Vermont on that Thursday, January 30th, won at home 75-72. Why make a statement like that? It doesn't matter who the opponent was, doesn't matter who's coming into our gym. We're winning this game. It's not going to be 6 in a row. How did that happen with this team that you said we all just kind of collectively said, no one's beating us, doesn't matter the opponent, we're winning this Thursday night?
Well, so it's really started with Coach L's philosophy, Coach Sanders' philosophy, and he always talks about. Now we do a lot of scouting, but he always talks about it doesn't matter how much scouting we do, it doesn't matter about what the other team has. If we play our brand of basketball, if we limit the turnovers and we rebound and we make our shots and play the defense that we play, we're able to win any game, any night. So just really with his philosophy, it's all about us. And then also with that Vermont game, like I said previously, we were just so locked in as a team and ready to change the season around. We developed a new team motto. Previously, since last year, our team motto in the huddle, when we break it down, has been buckle up. This year we changed it. Right before the game, we changed it to not today. And throughout the whole game, every media timeout, every other timeout, we were coming together as a team up in the game or down, if they were on a run or we were on a run, we just had ultra confidence and great energy from the bench and the guys playing. And we just kept telling each other, it's not happening today. We're not losing today. So not today is really stuck. And we sort of take that motto and run with it.
Who was the one that shifted it from buckle up to not today?
Well, it started from Coach L saying, actually Coach B telling us, writing down on the locker room board before the game, not today, in quotations. But after the game, I got to give myself credit. I was the one who was like, "We're changing buckle up to not today." And then throughout, right after that, it's stuck, and we've been saying it ever since.
So you guys say not, which I feel like in those moments that one, two, three, and you put your hands together and you just hear that collective, not today. I feel like for me, if I was in that huddle and I played basketball for a while from age 7 all the way through high school and got recruited D3, if I'm in a huddle and I hear not today, that struck something in me when you said that. Is that now going to continue to be? Was that the motto at the next game, the victory that you just had, and is it going to be the one moving forward? Are we sticking with not today?
No, most definitely are. We said it all week at practice. We said it right before the Albany game, throughout the Albany game, and we said it today in practice. So it's gonna stick for sure.
I love
And
it.
another thing that's gonna stick is the Coldplay. As a team, we're loving Coldplay and we're loving the song. So it's bringing a lot of good energy.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. The lyrics, for those that don't know, I know the song, "A Sky Full of Stars." It goes back and forth. Very simple song, and it says, "Because you're a sky full of stars. I'm going to give you my heart." So we know that we have that sky full of stars. This team, a bunch of stars together in one sky, essentially a bunch of student athletes together on one team. And then it says, "I don't care. Go on and tear me apart. I don't care if you do, because in a sky full of stars, I think I saw you." So why this song? Why did this one catch on? I mean, I look at the motif of it and say, y'all a bunch of stars in this greater sky of the Binghamton Bearcat family. And then I look at the fact of you saying, no matter who's against us trying to tear us apart, we're going to keep focusing on the fact that we're a sky full of stars. So I can see it from my point of view. Why do you think it's stuck? I mean, is it what I'm saying? Is it something else that made this song stick?
You know, Dan, I hadn't really thought of that as we've been listening to it. I'll be honest with you. When that song comes on, and I've loved that song in the past, but right now it just means so much to us that I tell you what, every time I hear that song start playing, I start getting goosebumps and I'm ready to run through a roof. So, I mean, you'd have to ask Coach B. I wish I had that answer for you, but he came into practice last week on Monday and started playing it, and we were like, I mean, you know us. Normally, we're listening to rap music and trying to get ourselves pumped up to that. But this sort of change in energy is really just it's helped us. And I don't know the true motif behind it, but whatever it is, it's working. And we didn't. One thing we didn't know was before the game, Vermont. I forget what song normally comes on right before the tip when we walk out of the huddle and get ready to start the game.
Yeah.
But he surprised us all somehow and changed it to "Sky Full of Stars." And when I heard that, man, whoo, it was hard not to. As soon as the whistle blew, it was hard not to run out there and get 5 fouls in the first minute because I was so pumped up. But I was able to get myself under control and then just play the game. So it was a good surprise and it got us all going. That's for sure.
So, an assistant on the team, Brian Johnson, he brings this song to practice and then he surprises you and puts it in a game. And now, not today, which he wrote on the board, and then you said to the guys, that stuck. And then Brian Johnson brings a sky full of stars, that stuck. So, is this, I mean, we know that not today is the motto. So, is the theme song a sky full of stars? Is it just something that you feel like, hey, you heard it, it did something to you, it put you on some level, like you said, ready to go through the roof, ready to go out there with the energy? So, is this just the right song for the team right now in this moment that you're going to carry as well?
No, it absolutely is. You laid it out perfectly. You know, some of the guys they don't love it. They would rather be listening to a little baby or another rapper, but everybody else, I mean, everybody has gotten together and really gotten behind the song and gotten behind the what it means when we're hearing it. what it means is coming together as a unit and just having fun, and because that's what it is. And I think during that 5 game losing streak, we weren't looking at it as fun. We were looking at it like, man, we got to get out of this. But then we just shifted our energy and we were like, you know what? We're gonna go out there. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna play basketball. We're gonna win, and we're gonna do it the way that we all want to do it, which is playing the way we love to. So it's just I can't even explain it to you too much, Dan, but it's working. So we'll keep running with it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes because you come into an arena and you hear a song and you think, I don't think about that when I think about this team, but it's just something that like works with the team. And in the moment, it just fits. And it's fit with you guys so far. We're on this 2 game winning streak. After you go up against Vermont at home and you get that victory and you start with not today, we see the team move on and get a victory at Albany 65-61. These close matchups because you had, and the last time you played Albany was just a few games ago, lost by just a few points there, a 5-point game difference, and you see them again and you win by 4. So how did you flip the script on Albany, who you had seen just a couple weeks before you saw them again on February 1st?
Well, going back to that Albany game and going back to the 5 losses we've had in conference, we've all truly felt like we gave away each one of those games. And those are all 5 of those games we feel like we should have won. And so really just having that confidence that we know once we get ourselves to play a full game and play full 40 minutes all together as one unit, unselfishly, that we're going to come out with these wins. And so going into Albany, we would have loved to beat them by a little bit more, but they're our rivals, so going into their place and beating them in more of a close game is more of a demoralizing loss to them. So we'll take it, but definitely was a great gritty win, and we grinded out a win, so we'll take it. It's
Yeah,
hard to win one basketball game, so especially on the road.
yeah, and like you said, I mean, the America East, there's a smaller number of teams. We've seen some of these conferences balloon to 18 schools, 16 schools, and whatnot, 14. In the case of the America East, y'all really get to know each other in close quarters. And you said Albany's your rival, but just what you could say about overall the America East, what it does. I mean, do you like that you're in a conference that has less schools and it's not, I mean, the case of the ACC, they play 31, each team in there plays 31 games. 20 of them are in conference, so they really don't get a chance to play a lot of non-conference games. You guys get a great non-conference schedule. You get challenged to that non-conference, and then you get into this gritty, close quarters. There's there's a small number of us here in the America East as opposed to, having almost 20. Do you like being in a conference that isn't ballooned out like that, and you can have these matchups where you're going to see everybody twice a year?
That's a great question, and I would say I definitely do like the smaller, more close knit conference feel, just because on 2 different levels, I really love one thing that I've really, it might sound funny, but one thing that I've really loved is just the sort of friendly banter. Now it's a competition, so every team wants to win, but the friendly banter that goes on in the games, whether it be on the foul line, talking to the other team, or talking to another guy that you're guarding, and you know how he plays, you've scouted him for years, and you've played against him many times. I like that sort of feel. And another thing that I like about it is because you're getting scouted so much and the other teams know how you play. When you're able to perform well and play well against them, I feel like it means a little bit more because that it shows that you can do what you do better than they can stop it and scout it. So I think I really do like that small conference feel.
And we look at that Albany game and we talk about this, like you said, winning in those that close margin. They beat you by a couple possessions. You beat them by a couple possessions. We go back and look at that and the excitement that you had in that game. We also look at the fact that in the Vermont game, and I didn't realize this until I went and looked at it, it snaps a 22-game, decade-long losing skid to a conference kingpin. So beating Vermont snaps a 22-year losing side of things against them. That's huge for this program. I mean, this Binghamton Bearcats program a decade or so ago was going through a lot of stuff, turmoil, change, and whatnot, being a team that wasn't winning a lot of games. To defeat Albany, which you said that's our rival, and then to defeat Vermont and have a 2-decade long losing streak to them. Just bring me into that. You and your teammates being a part of history. And like you said, against Vermont, it didn't matter who was coming in. You said, not today. It's not going to happen today. Well, y'all just happened to make history in that game as well.
So obviously that was a huge game for the program and for the history of the school. And I tell you what, last year, one of my best friends, Dan Petcash, one of my, I call him basically like an older brother to me. Man, he's played against Vermont, I think, more than 10 times in his career for 5 years, and he'd never beaten them. So he was my first call after we beat him because I was so happy to be able to tell him that we beat him for him. And we got videos from other past teammates crying and just tears of joy, and the alumni in the crowds, the fans, coach, all of our coaching staff, everybody in the program, fans included, who hasn't seen a Binghamton team beat Vermont in so long. It felt incredible for us to beat them and to sort of kick back our season and start the winning streak back. But it felt great to be able to show the fans that we did it for them. So it was awesome.
Yeah, and let me correct myself. I said 22-year, 22 game over around a decade long there. 2015 is when the losing streak started, 22 games in a row, and you snapped that 22 game losing streak. And I remember Mr. Pat Cash well, so I'm happy that you brought him up and showed him some love. Your story, when we look at your connection to basketball, Gavin, you come from Loyola Blakesfield High School in Baltimore, Maryland. So, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, is this man a Ravens fan? Did you grow up a Terps fan? I don't know where you stand with all this stuff, but I love to hear, little Gavin Walsh growing up in Baltimore, Maryland. What was life like, and how did basketball happen?
No, so I mean, I love to reminisce a little bit. So I grew up basketball family, sports family. Um, I guess we could say it started with my uncle, Billy Barnes, who was a Hall of Fame player at William and Mary, played against Jordan, played against Barkley, um, just an absolute legend. And so he was sort of the first one in our family to really have success with it. And then my mom, she played basketball. She actually had a scholarship opportunity to go to Maryland and be a Terp. She ended up going to Maryland but not playing basketball. And then my father was a great basketball player too, but a great soccer player as well. He went to St. Joe's University in Philly, and I mean, and then my older brother as well. He played at Boys Latin School of Maryland in in around the Towson area,
Okay.
and he was sort of the first one to sort of, I would say that he sort of paved the path for me. Um, and what I mean by that is he played on the high level AAU teams, the EYBL, the UAA teams in Baltimore. He developed relationships with the coaches and with through his character and through his play. Same thing goes for high school. When he was getting recruited in high school, I still remember his recruiting process. And so his character and his play sort of paved the path for me, being around him all the time and just meeting everybody. They knew who I was. And so when I started developing, I had great connections already,
Okay.
able to sort of lean on my brother. And everybody in the area thought I was going to go to Boys Latin and follow his footsteps, but I chose to take my own path and go to Loyola Blakefield under Coach Josh Davali, and just had a great time there. I love the school. Super proud of my time there. Um, and then, you know, one thing that has sort of some people look at it with sort of a sketchy eye is in the Baltimore area. You play for a lot of different AAU teams most of the time.
Yeah.
So I played for more than I can count just
Okay.
throughout my years. But the most influential team to me and the team that I call home is Team Mello.
Okay.
I mean, Team Mello has done so much for me. The coaching staff, Coach Sam Brand, Coach Zito, all of them they've taught me so much through the game and outside of the game with community service, and everything that they do for the community in Baltimore is just second to none. And then even Carmelo himself, I've got a great relationship with Carmelo. He's he's a guy that I'm always super proud to say that I've met him, and not only met him, but am able to. He told me I'm able to give him a call or text if I ever need anything. So when you have a guy like that who's a basketball, just one of the greatest to ever play the game, it's a great connection to have, and just have learned through so much through them and throughout my time there, and that sort of propelled me in my basketball career. But then going back to my family, I'm a big family guy. I know my family's going to be watching this tomorrow, so I want to tell them I love them, and I'm just so thankful for all their support. And give a big shout out to my little sister, because sometimes I forget her on the interviews. So Annabelle, how you doing? She's a stud too. She's going to Denver for lacrosse. She's a
Awesome.
junior right now, so she'll be there in 2 years. And then she's got a twin brother, Rowan, who is he's big time, man. He's about 6'6", 250 tight end football player at Good Counsel, and they're nationally ranked. And he's blowing up right now. He's every day it seems like he's getting at least two or three new offers. So we'll definitely see him in the NFL. So that'll be fun to watch. But throughout with my older brother Connor and Rowan and Annabelle and my parents, we've had some great 3-on-3 games in the backyard. Whatever sport, some great 2-on-2 games, and we're just real closely knit. And that's sort of that family bond that we have, and it sort of shaped all my decisions of where I'm going to school, who I'm playing for, um, just because I know I really want to be around sort of that family atmosphere, that family feel. And then that's ultimately why I chose Binghamton, because I mean the coaching staff here is just second to none. I mean, it's not a lot of head coaches in the country that'll get up on a Saturday morning with you bright and early and just rebound with you one on one. And that's something that Coach Lavelle Sanders does for us. And the assistant coach is just amazing and just truly a family feel. So, and then ultimately, before I chose to come to Binghamton, I was playing on the Nike EYBL circuit and blew up there and got a bunch of scholarship offers coming out of high school, but then ultimately just decided to go to IMG Academy down in Bradenton, Sarasota, Florida
Yeah.
for a post grad year, just to sort of develop my skills and my body and just make sure that when I came into college, I was able to hit the ground running and make an immediate impact. So just throughout guidance from my family, my faith, I'm really a religious guy. I truly believe that God has blessed me with so much, and I'm so thankful for everything that He's given to me. My family, God, and all my connections and relationships I've built in life have got me to this moment, and will keep getting me further along in my career. So just the one word I could say is I'm grateful for everything. So it's truly a blessing.
Well, I
But going back to that,
yeah. Go
you
ahead.
asked about the Ravens. Now,
Yeah.
here's a funny thing for you.
Yeah.
My father's from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
My mom's from PG County, Maryland.
Okay.
So you say Ravens fan, but all this is somehow the all the announcers on ESPN have found this out that my house is a family divided when it comes to Sundays. All the boys in my family are diehard Steelers fans, and all the girls in my family, they're all Ravens fans. So when it comes to the Steelers versus Ravens rivalry, it's a house divided. We butt heads a lot, but it's definitely fun.
I mean, and I would love to see that. I mean, I know some houses, I know some Yankee Mets houses. Steeler Ravens, interesting because they played three times this season and they split the regular season one apiece. So when we got to the postseason and the Ravens won that, bring me into that. Like, what was happening? Because y'all got it, Ravens got it. So like the men's side of it, y'all got your Steelers got a victory in the regular season. Then the women in your family got the Ravens. Then you go to the playoffs, you see that you're playing each other. Here's game three, the one that's going to decide who's going to move on. The Ravens win that game. Bring me into that. I mean, were y'all together? I mean, you may not have been home because you're in your season, but I mean, what was this like? Were there a lot of people in the house? Were you FaceTiming? Did you get to go there? I mean, bring me into that.
So the one thing that really saved me was that I think we might have had a game right before or had been on the road during the game.
Yeah.
So when we lost, I didn't have to hear too much about it or pay too much mind to it. Now it was definitely heartbreaking,
Yeah.
but I think all of us guys, as much as we don't want to admit it, I think we knew that the Ravens were going to come away with it. So we weren't too disappointed.
Yeah.
The Ravens were a heck of a team this year, and just they deserved the win. So all in all, it was definitely heartbreaking, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad of a clash. We were all still talking the next day, so it was all right.
What has been the biggest feuding chapter of Ravens Steelers in your family? Do you remember a specific game where the men and women in your family were so bitterly at each other's throats? Is there a game that you could go back to and be like, we didn't talk after this, we didn't eat at the same table after this game? I mean, can you bring me into one of those?
So, it might sound a little bit contradictory,
Okay.
but when I was really young, my grandfather Pop Pop and my Grammy, they used to take me to Ravens games. And at that time, I was sort of propelled into being a Ravens fan when I was real young. My father hadn't really been able to get his reins around me yet.
Okay.
So I remember laying in my mom's bed, and my brother and my father were at M&T Bank, and they were there with my Grammy and my Pop Pop and my Uncle Ryan, and they were there. Grammy and Uncle Ryan and Pop Pop, they're all diehard Ravens fans too. So it was just Connor and my dad at the game versus that side of the family.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the game with my mom, and when the Ravens would score a touchdown, I would cry because I was upset that the Steelers were losing for my dad and my brother. And then when the Steelers would score a touchdown, I was crying because I was upset for the rest of the family. So other than that sort of split feeling,
Yeah.
there hasn't been. And then eventually my father was able to pull me in and be like, "Come on now, you're dying with the black and gold." So other than that, I feel like the main time that we were all that the family there was a little bit of a eerie feeling, a little bit of a awkwardness was I can't remember how many years ago it was. It might have been 3 or 4 when the Ravens versus Steelers played on Christmas Day. And I remember being at my grandparents' house and Antonio Brown catching that goal line touchdown and forcing his way to put the ball over the goal line. And we were happy, but we were in Ravens territory, so we didn't celebrate too much because oh man, it wouldn't have been good if we were hooting and hollering. But that Christmas dinner was a little iffy. But other than that, it's been pretty smooth sailing. We're all happy for each other, but it's a good question.
So, Russ the Bus, Justin Fields, you're hoping they draft Kyle McCord from Syracuse or somebody else. What do you want for the future of the Steelers?
I think Russell did well this year, but I really hope, and my brother and my father and my little brother will back me up on this. We're hoping we go with Fields.
Okay.
Like the young guy, we like the new evolving game of football and the new sort of quarterback run and roll. And so we're hoping that we go with Fields, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Here with Gavin Walsh. I got a feeling and I got a sense for this because we do things differently at Wake Up Call if you haven't noticed already. And we're doing this Bearcat Breakroom with you, but I feel like the next time we do something, or maybe not too distantly down the road, we do a little family affair one and we give a little shout out to your sister who's doing her thing about, going to Denver in a little bit. Give a little shout out to your brother out here who you think is going to be one of those players in the NFL someday. And maybe we find a way to get the band together here and do a little Brady Bunch thing and put like the Walsh family up on the call and see if we can get you all to do something together. I feel like that would be fun.
That would be a blast, and I know they would love to do that. So that would
Awesome.
be that would be something, that's for sure.
Awesome. Well, before we get into rapid fire where you and I get to put each other on the hot seat, Gavin, looking at this season and knowing that, obviously your non-conference play is one season, your conference play is a whole new season. What did you learn from the non-conference season, from those games that you had, the challenges that you had? How did it prepare you for the America East, in your opinion?
So one thing that I learned after watching, I love watching Coach Sanders is his interviews, just because I think he's such an insightful guy, especially about the game. And one thing he was talking about was that I didn't know that most teams sort of build their non-conference schedule to sort of match the game styles of teams in conference. So I just think that playing a variety of different teams and styles and um, defensive schemes, offensive schemes, I didn't know that each of those games were sort of building us and trying to prepare us for when we get into conference. So I think just having that non-conference schedule really helped us, and that 5 game losing streak might say differently, but we've learned so much. And like I said before, early on in this, we're hitting the ground running, and we're elevating and we're moving up. So I think a non-conference schedule like we had is truly important to be able to play your best basketball at this time, which is what you want to be doing.
Absolutely. And as the team looks to catch fire here, going through the America East and heading toward the America East tournament, and as people know, or if you don't know, if you win your tournament, you automatically punch your ticket to the greater NCAA tournament, which is the hope for every team every season, including these Bearcats. And I hope you guys get the opportunity here and do what you need to do. I have to ask you this. He's been on the show before. You talked about having a strong faith. I know this guy does too. Taimu Chenery. Is there anybody on your team that posterizes people like Taimu does? And is there anyone that you can look to and go, because I asked him, I said, do you have a favorite dunk? Do you have a favorite moment? And he's talking to me about, different things and whatnot. I like his personality, like your personality. Got to be around some other guys, got to be around Coach, obviously, Lavelle Sanders for a while now. Is there anybody that can create a moment at the rim on your team currently like Taimu?
Taimu he's a flyer, man, and he's one of the most athletic guys I've played with, played against, just been around. And when he's coming down the lane and he's going up for that dunk, you don't want to be anywhere in that area. But I think another guy, I got 2 guys.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Evan Ash.
Okay.
He's he's a freak athlete, man. I mean, I would say close to a 50-inch vert, and he's had some posterizing dunks this year. And I mean, just one of the best on-ball defenders and one of the most athletic guys that I've played with. Him, and then I'm gonna go myself.
Okay.
I had a I don't like to toot my own horn too much, but I had definitely the greatest dunk of my life. One of the greatest dunks that I've seen
Okay.
versus Lafayette earlier this year. I had a pretty nasty posterizer on a 7-footer versus Lafayette, and that just it felt awesome. So, and Taimu was right there celebrating with me. So Taimu and I come from sort of the same area. We sometimes he drove me back here from home for Christmas break. So
Okay.
me and Ty's relationship is really good, and what a guy he is. And I mean, funny you talk about the face side of things. Right after the game, I was on Twitter, and when they posted that his sort of game sealing move at the end there, what does he say? He quotes it, and he's like, "All glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ." So
Yeah.
I saw that and immediately went and sat next to him and just gave him a big dap up. And I mean, when you got guys of character like that, they're fun to be around. So you want to surround yourself with those kind of people, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you are the company you keep. And I saw that same thing that he put up, and I wrote back to him. I said, I love this. So, I can appreciate that so very much. And for those of you that may not know or maybe forgot, that's a Lafayette Classic early on in the season in non-conference play after losing by just 3 points, 1 possession to Niagara, and all these games in Easton, PA. We saw back-to-back victories for the Binghamton Bearcats men's basketball team, both in overtime. And in that game where you had that posterizing dunk over a 7-footer, your team won 82-81 over Lafayette College, who was hosting the Classic. Right before rapid fire, most important question to me, selfishly, is why have the faith that you have? where did this come from? Because I have lived growing up as a kid, it was like 9 out of 10 people believed in God. If you didn't talk about God and you didn't say a prayer, you got a slap upside the head in school, and it was normal to believe in God. Then I said, wow, I somehow went from being a kid and believing in God was great and it was wonderful to feeling kind of on the outside looking into society, feeling ostracized, especially these last 4 years or so, last few years, feeling very strange about how society was becoming in America. And now I'm seeing people go out and talk about God. I'm seeing athletes go out and do it so openly, and I love it and I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I'm always going to believe in God and I'm always going to talk about God. But like I said, I lived at a time where I felt like it was the thing that most people were doing. And then recently I felt like at times I was by myself. And now I've been living in a world where I'm seeing it. You know, you're talking about it. Bunch of student athletes at Binghamton have spoken with me about it, of all different sports. My buddy Riley Leonard, the quarterback for Notre Dame, he's been open about it. Interviewed Will Howard, the quarterback for Ohio State. He's talking about it. So I'm seeing it in all these different places now, and I love it. Where does your faith come from, and why is it important for you to not hide your faith?
So it really all started um, like how I feel it starts in most sort of Catholic families. Started early with my parents, my grandparents,
Yeah.
and I think my parents it definitely started with their parents, and especially with my grandfather. And rest in peace, Papa. I passed away 4 or 5 years ago,
I'm
and
sorry.
no, it's definitely tough and remember him every day. And before I talk a little bit more about how it started, I'll start there first. But with my Grammy and my Pop-Up, they're really faithful and really religious, and they taught my father that, and my mom's parents, my other side of my other grandparents, they taught her well too on the same thing, and went to Catholic school. Um, in elementary school, and that sort of propelled me to receive the first sacraments, excuse me. And just ever since then, just remembering to thank God and just be grateful for everything that He's given me has sort of helped me along the way. And through confirming my own faith with confirmation, I was truly excited to do that because like I said, I know how much God has given me and my family, and we're just so blessed, and the blessings keep coming every day. So, I mean, how could you not say God is good and God is great? And you look around in the world, and there's a lot of evil going around in the world, but when you look at little things for me like nature or even a song or something like that, other people, you just how can you not see God? And that's what I believe. And so just my faith has carried me along my path through the ups and downs. And one quick thing is one of my favorite. It's not really a prayer, but one of my favorite little. I don't know if I'd say you could almost call it a poem sort of thing. A little short story is called "Footprints in the Sand."
Mm-hmm.
It just talks about how it's a quick story about how there's this guy who's walking on the beach with God, with Jesus, and there's good times. There's two sets of footprints, and then through the bad times in the guy's life, there's only one set of footprints. And he's asking Jesus, Jesus, when I'm going through good times, you're there with me, but when I'm going through bad times, where are you? You're not there anymore. And Jesus looks at him and he goes, when you're going through your bad times, I'm the one who's carrying you.
Yeah.
And that just, ever since I read that, it's stuck with me. And when there's a lot of ups and downs in basketball, there's a lot of ups and downs in life. So just remembering to stay even keeled and knowing that God's got your back is something that's truly important to me. And right before the games, I always pray and say a quick prayer and to say this game's for you, Pop Up and Grandmom, who are up there watching. That was one of the last words my grandfather said to me was, no matter where I am, I'm always going to be watching you and being proud of you playing basketball. So it means a lot to me. And then, I do my handshake for the starting lineup, and everyone always asks, I always go like this. And everyone always asks, what does that mean? And, Antonio Brown on the Steelers sort of it all connects.
Yeah.
He started this thing called God. And so that's what I always do. And so right before the game, I call God, and then we get ready to play. So it's all revolving, and just throughout the ups and downs, just being thankful to God. And I'm doing really well this year, so I got to give credit to God and just be ever so grateful. And you were talking about how sometimes you sort of feel on the outside looking in. And I've always been going to mass on Sundays growing up, but going to college has been tough. Being tired from a game Saturday night, or just not really having the access. Last year I didn't have a car up here, so I wasn't able to get to church as often. But I was having this conversation with someone a couple weeks ago, and they were asking me sort of about my faith and what church I go to, if I go to church around here. And I haven't gone to church around here too much, but then that conversation sort of sparked me into thinking, let me do some more research and see if there's one close by. And St. Mary's of Assumption is real. It's about 7 minutes away. And I walked in there one Sunday morning, and I was like, wow, this place is incredible. It's a huge cathedral looking church. I mean, you know how it is with the paintings of Mary and Jesus on the ceiling and all the angels. And so, I mean, every Sunday since, I've just been going there at 11:30 and being thankful for the week God gave me and the week He's leading me into. So, it might all sound cliche, but I truly mean it. I mean, I give all the glory to God. So that's sort of my story with my faith.
Well, I can appreciate that. I was nodding a lot because it's making a lot of sense to me, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And you got me there. I mean, you definitely. I'm sitting here thinking like my mom sees this, my dad sees this. They're probably gonna get a little choked up. But that when you said one of the last things your grandfather said to you was wherever wherever I am, I'm gonna be watching you. Like I'm gonna be watching these games wherever, and and I know he is, and that's the beauty. And I tell people, I say this all the time when they say, like how old, did your grandma pass away? And I said, yeah, G mama, my mom's mom passed away. And like, oh, how old was she, or what type of person was she? And I always say she is. And I tell people, I said, she ain't dead. Like she's not here, but she's living more now than she ever has. She's dancing more now than she ever did. And I'll tell you this story, kind of going off of yours here. When because I'm a strong believer in God, and God has given me irrefutable evidence of His existence, and clear as day. When my grandmother passed away, I got to the house, and I knelt down beside her bed, and I looked at her. She looked different, and I put my hands on her, and I smiled. I said, I know you're not. I said, I know you're not here. That's what I said. I said, I know you're not here anymore. And I just pictured her, knowing her comedy and her faith, that she shot right up to heaven, and she looked at Jesus and looked down at her wrist like time. And she was like, time? Like how fast you get here, how fast I get here. And when she passed away, I don't know when exactly it was, but my grandfather, my mom told me my grandma loved to dance, and my grandfather would take her dance and dance with her all the time. And my grandfather passed away when I was 6. They both did. I saw this gate to heaven, and there's this cloud, and there's this gate, and to the side of the gate it was just open, and you could just see these like clouds. And my grandmother just walked to the side of the gate, and this guy is walking toward her, my grandfather, and he walks toward her when she got to heaven. He didn't say a word to her. He grabbed her hands up in the air. He put his other hand on her waist, and he just started dancing with her.
Wow.
And I said, that man waited a long time to dance with her. And I remember saying that to God. I said, God, my grandmother's almost 101. I've prayed every time she's gone through things. She had 3 bouts of cancer in her 90s, beat it every time. One of the times she had cancer surgery, she woke up at 10 o'clock at night in the hospital. My mom was the only one there with her. But she woke up and she looked around. She goes, can somebody get me a cup of coffee? First thing she said after going through cancer surgery. And she was always tough. And she is. And she got through all of that, and I got to a point with God where I looked up at him. I said, God, she is 100 years old. I have asked you, you have granted, you have given me everything and more. You've answered all my prayers, and my grandfather has waited a long time to dance with his wife. I don't feel like it's fair for me to keep her any longer.
No,
And I just, I know that if their love exists, then true love exists, and it's a reminder of God. And my grandfather passed away over 30 years ago. I think about him every day. So to me, it's like that real, genuine love when God puts someone in your life and that gift is in your life, they don't leave. You might not
not
see them, but you see them. You may not hear them, but you hear them. You may not feel them, but you feel them. And you just know it's them when it's there. So when you said that, I just kind of pictured, and I've never met your grandfather, and I just kind of pictured this guy laying in bed, looking up at you, grabbing your hand, and saying, hey, wherever you're going to be, I'm going to be there. And I'm sure he is.
absolutely. Yes, sir. He's up there having a feast every game. He's up there with with a bunch of crabs and one of his natty bows. So he's loving it.
Well, let's jump into rapid fire. And thank you for sharing that story and sharing some time with your faith with me and with everybody watching and listening. Rapid fire here on the Bearcat Breakroom allows you and I to put each other on the hot seat. We can talk about any subject. There's no prior preparation. There's nothing written down. You get to ask me the first question. What do you got?
Oh, that's a tough one. All right. Well, I'm not a huge NBA fan,
Okay.
but some pretty shocking news just came in. How do you feel about the Luka trade? I love Luka Doncic. So how do you feel about that?
I think it must be nice to be LeBron. So, like, it must be nice to just be like, go get me an all star. Give me another all star. So apparently he didn't know, but bringing in Luca, I mean, LeBron's 40, and LeBron, and this is crazy. LeBron and I graduated high school at the same time because I'm 39, and I mean, I think it's great for the Lakers. I think it's insane. The guy's 25 years old, and Dallas just gave away their entire future to make LeBron happy, who may play this year, and that's it. So it's like, I mean, it's great for the Lakers. It's not great for the Mavs. Not like I discount Anthony Davis, but I just, I mean, it kind of seems like some kid turned on his NBA game and it turned on 2K and like made a trade and shut off all the rules that would stop the trade. I mean, that's kind of what it feels like. So it's like there's no salary cap, there's no questions. When you could go onto your game and just like put everybody on your team. So I mean, I guess it's good for LeBron's potential last run or whatever, but it's strange. And we're going to talk about it with Dave Paziak, who's a longtime basketball coach, and just like any NBA question you have, you ask Dave. So we'll talk about it this week. But I was just kind of like, okay. I mean, I guess Dallas wants to help LA. I mean, I guess. I mean, the only thing I took from it was like, did they owe them a favor? That doesn't make sense. It makes sense for the Lakers. It doesn't make sense for the Mavericks.
Absolutely. Absolutely right. I agree.
My question back to you, Gavin. Well, we talked about music before. Besides that Coldplay song, is there a song that when you need to just like take a step back and you need to kind of just reset yourself or remind yourself who Gavin Walsh is, do you have a song that you go to? Do you have an artist that you go to that allows you to just kind of reset yourself?
I mean, I'm a big country music fan.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would say anything by Morgan Wallen. I mean, whether it's a win on the bus or a loss on the bus, there's a song for every time, every moment throughout the day.
Okay.
So, definitely something by Morgan Wallen. Or another one, which is funny because Coach B played this song right before the Albany game too in the locker room, and I had no clue that he was going to do it, but it's called Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker, and I was able. I mean, it's a song I've heard at the beach with my family and at our beach house community, just hearing that song on the speakers just always has sort of resonated with me and just sort of relaxed me. So I love that song. But then one other song is for my mom. Whenever I see my mom, if good or bad, going through good times or bad times, I see my mom and I always play the song "Mother and Child Reunion" by Paul Simon, and that song just it's my mom and my song, so I love that song too. So no matter what, those that Morgan Wallen, Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker, and Mother and Child Reunion, one of those three for sure.
Okay, I like it. You got one more for me. What is it?
I was gonna ask you the same thing. What's your music taste? But
Yeah.
outside of sports and podcasts and interviews, what's some of your favorite things to do? Let's go in the summer because we're sick and tired of this winter cold. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because one of my nicknames that I got in college is Iceman, and that was my name on the radio station. So I told people, I was like, I guess I'm kind of connected to this weather forever with my nickname. But yeah, I mean, what do I like to get into? Think about warmer weather. I mean, I love to travel. So I really do enjoy that. My dad and I wanted to, I've been wanting, so I'm Italian and I'm Spanish. And so I've wanted to go back, and there may be some other pieces we kind of learn about family, but I know I'm Italian and Spanish. So we've talked for a long time about going back to Italy, going home, and we're doing that this year. So we actually like made the reservations. We know where we're going. Crazy thing happened, and this is where God is like, where people are like, yeah, okay, Dan, I'm sure God did something just for you with billions of people. And I'm like, yeah, I think he does it for everybody if you pay attention. So tell me that God didn't do this for me and my family.
Yeah.
I'm looking up Calabria, or I'm sorry, I'm looking up Naples because that's where my dad's family from, my last name Tortora. So I look up Tortora, Naples, Italy. My mom's family, the Cavinos, are from Calabria. I
Okay.
look up Tortora with Naples, and in the search, I find a region of Calabria that is named Tortora, has my family's last name, where my mom's family grew up. My dad's family's name is there, and it's actually like a town or a place. There's a museum Tortora, there's a mountain Tortora, and it's all along the water. So I said to my parents, like, you guys were bound to meet each other. Like Tortora is in Calabria. So I thought that was crazy. So I told my dad, like, if he doesn't come with me, I'm gonna walk there. But I definitely I'm excited to travel. I love traveling. And yeah, I mean, what do I like to do when the weather breaks? Honestly, I played basketball most of my life, and I owe it to myself to get back onto the court. It's one of the places where I could shut my brain off completely. I absolutely love playing the game. And I'm kind of like toying with this idea if you think, Coach L and the crew would be okay with this. But I'm kind of thinking that, like, maybe we should do like a Bearcat Breakroom horse where some of you guys play me in horse.
Now that sounds like fun, and we would be all for it.
So, and, I do like taking those half court shots. So we will see what comes of that. But yeah, that'd be cool. My question back to you, we haven't talked about food, and somehow I always end up with food when I'm talking to the Bearcats, which makes sense because Bearcats are hungry. So I'm going to give you a breakfast, lunch, and dinner choice. You get to do whatever you want, but it's for the rest of your life. So there's one breakfast, one lunch, one dinner. They're all three different meals, but I want to know what's on your plate for the three meals for the rest of your life.
That's a great question. And yeah, I'm a big food guy, but the thing is, I'm gonna be cooking
Okay.
because I'm a big time chef. I love my culinary skills. Growing up with my mom, she always taught me how to cook, so
Okay.
that's something that I'm proud of. I'm a little bit of a chef myself.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with but I'm gonna go tie it back to Dan Peckash. I'm gonna go with the Dan Peckash breakfast special.
Okay.
6 eggs. We're gonna go with hash browns, cooked real crispy. We're
Okay.
gonna go with sausage. And then on the side, we're gonna have a half an avocado,
Okay.
a piece of sourdough bread with some honey and some salt on it,
Okay.
and a little yogurt bowl with fresh fruit and some more honey and some dark chocolate chips put on top. That's the ideal breakfast. Nutrition, everything. You got everything covered.
All right, I like it.
So lunch we're gonna do this for lunch. We're gonna go with a real nice medium rare steak,
Okay.
and we'll go a little bit unhealthy. We'll go with some nice good steak fries as well with that,
Okay.
and that'll take care of a good lunch.
Okay.
And then for dinner, I'm a Maryland guy, and I guess some people say I have a little bit of Southern drawl to me. So we're gonna go with a big seafood platter. So we got Maryland blue crabs, we got some good lobster, we got shrimp scallops, and I will go with some fresh oysters too. So we'll go with a whole seafood platter and a nice big pot of butter and some. You cannot forget the Old Bay, a big tub of Old Bay. That sounds like a 10 out of 10 dinner to me.
Well, I will tell you this. I do like to cook myself and love, I mean, I'll cook anything. So, Old Bay was the correct answer. I checked with the judges. Seafood was the correct answer. Honey was the correct answer. And dark chocolate as well. And having that breakfast with the eggs and a little bit of everything. Honey, I mean, I genuinely, so my grandmother, my mom's mom, my G mama, she always had sugar with a side of coffee, and I always have honey with a side of tea. So I'm very much my grandmother's grandson, and I absolutely love my honey. I'm notorious for like just doing honey water for my pipes, and I'll just heat up that water, and I'll just like, some people are a little squirt of honey in there. I'm going like this, and then people are like, all right, Dan. I was like, hey, when I can taste it, we're good. So I definitely like my honey. With
I
that,
got something for you.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
You got to try it and you got to let me know how you like it.
Okay.
Dan Peckash told me, he's big into nutrition and he's making a lot of money off of it, helping people out. But he taught me nature's milkshake. It's a nice big glass of milk with some honey in it. And you
Okay.
mix it up. It's got the nutrition, the protein, it's got everything. And I tell you what, it is darn good.
Well, I will tell you, my one of my meals and typically a breakfast for me is a homemade smoothie, bananas, strawberries, almond milk, and some peanut butter, but not the organic. It's organic, but it's like a healthier peanut butter. So I use the peanut butter, the almond milk, and the bananas and the strawberries. I'm thinking now I might throw some honey in there, but
I have to.
yeah, but it's very good. So shout out to Pet Cash. And by the way, Daniel, I think that whatever your business is and whatever you're doing, you owe us a partnership. Money wise, you owe your guy Walsh some NIL, and you owe Wake Up Call some money because I don't think I said Daniel Pet Cash when he was on the show as much as you said it today. So shout out to Cash, shout out to Gavin Walsh and the family, to the Binghamton Bearcats men's basketball program, and to Binghamton University overall for this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom on Wake Up Call inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Gavin, it has been my true honor to have you here. I look forward to seeing you in person this season, and I do look forward to you guys, if you'd like to, holding me accountable for my words and playing horse against me.
Anytime, Dan. And thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.